While the world grappled with the epidemic, Turkey continues to be the world's largest journalist prison. Political prisoners and journalists were excluded from the amnesty regulation recently issued in Turkey due to the epidemic. Additional arrangements were made in the parliament at midnight so that journalists detained outside the scope of the Anti-Terrorism Act could not benefit as well. The Turkish judiciary does not release 20 journalists who have been detained since 2016 and who have completed their sentence and could be released under probation. Since the Supreme Court still has not written the reasoned decision about journalists who have been imprisoned for 4 years, 20 journalists are not released despite their sentences ended. The Ministry of Justice is trying to reduce the number of imprisoned journalists. Other than the well-known journalists from the TRT and Anadolu Agency are considered public officers excluded from statistics. The figures about how many journalists are detained at local level in media institutions such as Zaman and Cihan News Agency are unknown. Journalists who are in the COVID-19 risk group due to their age and diseases, such as 70 years old Ahmet Altan and Mevlüt Öztaş, who are undergoing cancer treatment, are still being detained despite all objections. Declining its rank 110 in the Democracy Index, 154 in the Press Freedom Index, Turkey in 2070 is the country where most journalists are imprisoned. Covered by degree laws issued by the will of the one person without relying on court decision, no concrete steps are taken regarding the decision of shutting down of 53 newspapers, 34 television channels, 37 radio stations, 20 magazines, 6 news agencies, 29 publishing houses, and the return of their seized assets. Access bans on digital broadcasting continue exponentially. United Nations 2020 Universal Periodic Review Mechanism prepared as a part of Turkey's report and recommendations. According to the report on Turkey in October 2019, 288,310 websites have denied access. Access barriers were brought to nearly 40,000 sites in the 2019 alone. In particular, 7,334 news links related to human rights violations and corruptions were also blocked. There are heavy bans on social media, which is the last way the public uses to get the correct information. The preparation of a legal arrangement that would bring censorship to social media and close it all was announced by the ruling party itself. Thousands of Twitter accounts in Turkey were blocked, while the commercial concerns of platforms such as Twitter and Facebook to cooperate with the Turkish government is causing an increase in the dose of censorship. The presence of unemployed, arrested, attacked journalists, intense and widespread censorship and shutdowns destroyed the freedom of press in Turkey. On May 3, World Press Freedom Day, we called the Turkish government to release journalists detained, especially those in the risk group due to outbreak, to bring an end to the pressures of the media.